your latest project, which is J.Cricket. And it's, of course, not only a beautiful collection, but also thinking about sustainability. So we're thrilled to be for you to be with us today. You're in Milan, I think.
Right now, since we last met in Venice, I'm in Switzerland at my own event. But we're going back to Milan, so I took this pause here to listen from the beginning. I was very inspired, and I can feel that there's a rich tapestry of new creators and thinkers and actors that are participating that will weave something very beautiful. It's the venerable Silk Road that started the whole idea of trade, of beauty, ideas, and craftsmanship between one side of the world to the other. And having lived also 20 years in Shanghai, in China, and continuing to have a business there, when I was able to really conceive of myself, as a designer after 35 years of being in the industry of fashion that we all know very well, I felt that to design again and to create clothing, which I love, fashion, which I think are such important pieces of our personal identity, that I really had to think about how I would feel good about making and doing what I was doing instead of, submitting to the stress and the frenetic pace, and as you said, the speed and the greed of everything. So J.Cricket was born from that idea, also of creating, from everything that was just left over and lying around. That as designers, that we also could not just talk about the plight of the big industry as we know it today, but also to just take our own actions to try something new. And by doing something new, demonstrate a path, show a way to ourselves, but also maybe shed a light on the industry if they want to take notice of other actors and players that are doing things in a different way. So I wanted to give you a little bit an idea of how I started. Started by buying leftover fabrics that exist everywhere, from the big producers for the luxury brands. And in Italy, of course, this is where we find the very finest quality of textiles that have been left over by the big luxury groups, a lot of big brands that we know today that are making very high level products. And with the leftovers, it was just like a playground of all sorts of colors and textures. So I started by collecting colors that I thought could go together, would look good in nature. I thought about textiles and yarns that were natural, that would feel good on the skin. As we pay so much attention to what we put into our bodies, I said, let's pay attention to what we put on our skin. So we primarily work with only natural fibers, linens, cottons, silks, wools, cashmeres, with a little bit of, other blends there. We buy anywhere from 30 meters to 150 meters. And skipping the whole idea of seasons and collections that we've been kind of, let's say, it's been a pattern. It's not necessarily a rule, but this is the way we've been working. So taking out, seasons and collections, we decided to build a wardrobe. So over time, this wardrobe became 200, designs. And what we do now is we just take these pieces around the world to destinations where we have communities that we can tap into, to just take everything by order and only create and produce something that somebody has ordered, so that we don't add to this additional inventory that is weighing down the industry and, really a huge weight also on our conscience as creators, right? So I decided to try to create in a way that I was, first of all, recuperating beauty lying around, reactivating it, and with the intention of creating garments that also have longevity, meaning good shape, high quality, limited editions, and really working on the purpose and giving, soul to the garment, as you said, Philip, because we really design with heart. We decided to take ourselves out of the context of traditional stores and wholesalers, because they can't simply focus on one idea, right? It's everybody's out there with the seasons. And once you get lost in that context, it's hard for the client, the customer, the potential collector to take note. So for the moment, we're in our second year of actually trying out our business model, which is going abroad, doing 3 to 4 day events. and then taking the orders and then delivering and producing within 12 weeks. And this is something that has worked out in many cities. And, so we continue on with this way. I want to show a few images of the type of garments that we create and that are all made in Italy, where they still are willing to make, 3 pieces or 12 pieces because this is what our customers require. Okay, so the name of the brand is J.Cricket. People have often asked me, so J.Cricket is Jiminy Cricket, the talking cricket in Disney's Pinocchio, who was also the conscience of Pinocchio. And my name being Jimin, I decided to just use that as kind of a reference point for the approach to J.Cricket. So we think garments have soul. We think that it can be living medicine. It can be many things. And I think that it's really about, changing perspective. I think textiles, yarns, colors give us the energy, the vibration, the mood. And from that, everything is cut. So as mentioned by many of the speakers, also by Lee, a lot of people today don't know what fabrics that they're wearing, what it's made of, where it's coming, and how it's made. So we really decided to make textiles and the fabrics that we collect from various makers and producers in Como, Biella, all over Italy, but also in Asia, to be, front and center, and for those pieces to inform the garments. So the design approach starts from the textiles that we collect. So the styles are also made to be comfortable, easy, layered, and to give you your own look. And I don't have a lookbook that is a prescribed, designer look, because I think that's a very old-fashioned way of looking at clothes, that it's actually a designer's vision that ends up on the person's body. I think it's our spirit, our attitude that gives everything to the garments, and we actually attract those things to ourselves. So we work with a lot of colors found in nature. These are just some shots that we had. We don't have any pictures of, showroom or collections or mood boards. J.Cricket is also dedicated to creating clothing and accessories that make women feel good. What do I mean about that? It's the intention is to give comfort and ease and freedom of movement. I do not make clothing as a designer that, will restrict me, because I think we are people on the move, people on the go. And for today, we need to have clothes that can take us into all contexts without, making us feel uncomfortable or self-conscious. So these are fabrics from Pierre Fry, the upholstery textile fabric that was already printed in a toile de Juillet. And so again, we made pieces out of it. These were very good sellers from our clients. That we also believe that, garments are more than fashion or images, that they're personal vessels that can be very transformative. And that over time, as we gain confidence in ourselves, that we know how to choose our clothes, but we're so conditioned by the images and the marketing campaigns that we see, that I think that this is something that we're trying to avoid, being on that stream and actually presenting directly to our clients and, getting the real reaction out of the end customer. We use a lot of menswear textiles, a lot of colors that work together. And we always think that, everything starts from the fabric. So listening to the previous speakers, I had already so many ideas that have come about. The way we create is I pick all the fabrics, we design all the shapes with a pattern maker, and we create prototypes slowly. And we have now built it up to be about 250 designs. Working slowly makes us much more conscious, and also, we can also avoid doing waste that a lot of young designers get into by creating 4 collections a year, throwing this good ideas out and starting from scratch. It can be very draining. So we're trying to, keep everything replenished in terms of energy and creative ideas, and never letting our designs go out of style is also one of our missions. So we keep on introducing it in new fabrics, new textiles. And whenever we go to new cities, the collection that we present, the wardrobe is brand new again. So this is an idea that I'm trying out right now without going digital, to do it in person, to get the real feedback from the real people, not from the in-between marketing, celebrities, influencers, and such that can dictate to a big audience about, you know, certain ideas, but we really are putting all our efforts in making the final customer, the collector, to be the person that tells us what she or he wants. So it's also limited by nature because we have limited fabrics. And so I think this is also what gives it that luxurious element, is that it really means that we have a few pieces of each that we make, and each piece will find its right owner and wearer. And many times in the last 3 years that we've been doing this, we've also had clients pass on things to their daughters and then to buy new pieces for themselves. So we think that this is us creating our community of people who believe more in clothing as an important personal vessel than as just a brand or a logo, to give us some type of idea of status, you know, that I think that we focus so much on these days. So that's it. That's what I do. And we are continuing to evolve this model, doing destination shows into doing something in our fixed, you know, heart center in Milan. And so when that is, you know, the next step next year, you know, we will also, you know, love to invite everybody in this audience to come and discover us in Milan as well. And maybe in our next show, which will be in New York, October 17th. And hopefully with Lee, Philip, we see you somewhere, you know, in Europe or in the US. But it was really a pleasure to be here to talk a little bit more about a way that we can try something new, and we can make a business out of it, and we can also have the mind of an activist and altruist. It doesn't have to be excluded from a commercial enterprise, right? So this is the energy that we think that we want to bring into JCricket. And so thank you very much.
No,
Thank you, Jimin. We witnessed your way of dressing for a few days when we were together in a small gig in Venice. And I witnessed your amazing sense of color, which I can also find back in your images. So I think that is very much part of what you do. And it's quite unique still to find neutrals mixed, you know, continuously mixed with color, which is beautiful. I think it's very brave and important that you bring it to a commercial point, because we can all be in the wings, you know, in the corridors and talk loud and clear. But then if you're really in the real arena, I think it's very powerful, because this is where it will really manifest itself. So thank you so much for doing this and teaching us. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And hope to see you soon.
Yes, definitely. I'll look you up in New York or, you know, in Europe somewhere. Take care.
And we'll share all your information with the audience for the pop-up in New York, and also your other events and your new website. So we'll definitely keep people informed. If you just stop sharing your screen, we'll go to the next presentation. That's perfect. But thank you. So the next